Lynn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's nice to be here.
Now, earlier this year, in fact, quite recently, the country was really shocked at this viral video that did the rounds. Thousands of people viewed it, and instead of seeing two children in an altercation, what we saw was an educator involved in what appeared to be the abuse of school children, which really got the country talking and thinking about bullying outside of the confines of two students. Talk to us about this.
Well, I think it's become a bit of a worrying trend, not just in South Africa, but worldwide, in fact, where we've seen an increase of bullying by teachers. And I think with the advent of technology where students are able to film what's going on, we're also becoming a lot more aware of it. And yes, it is something that's out there, and it is something that is very worrying.
Now, we don't often use the word bully to describe this behavior, but won't you just explain to us, what is bullying?
Well, bullying is really where you use your power to intimidate somebody else, and your teacher bullies really are the same as your schoolyard bullies. They use the power that they have and the authority that they have to belittle somebody, and what it does is it takes away their dignity as a person.
Now, if there is a parent watching this who thinks, you know, this particular behavior that's been demonstrated by one of my children's teachers does seem to be bullying, what can that parent do?
Well, I think, first and foremost, before we go into that, I think what is important is that parents at the beginning of the year already have open lines of communication with the teachers and the school. So in the event of an incident, or if your child comes home and they're not happy, you already have those open lines of communication where you can contact the teacher and you can contact the school immediately. So I would definitely recommend that right from the start you open those channels of communication. If a child does come home, I'd say it's very important to listen to your child and immediately contact the school. Don't wait it out. Don't tell your child, it's just something that happens at school. And I know a lot of parents do that. Quite often a parent will say, you need to fight your own battles at school. This is not the case when it's a young child especially, and I think the first step there should be immediately to contact the school. You can arrange a meeting with the teacher, definitely, and keep a close eye on the situation. And then obviously your next step would be to go higher to your HOD or your principal and discuss the situation there with them. I think what's also very important is you keep notes of meetings. Teachers often have to take minutes of meetings, and that you keep those minutes and you keep those notes so you have evidence that you have approached the issue, that you have spoken about it.
Now, what we're talking about is obviously a situation that's almost gone too far in a way.
Yes.
But in your capacity at your school at Riverside College, you do a lot along with your educators to try and stop this from happening almost at a grassroots level.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Well, we have an anti-bullying manifesto at school where we're going to be doing it again now mid-year. Where the teachers and the learners both take a pledge against anti-bullying. And I think it's important that the teachers do it in front of the children so that they're aware that this applies to everybody. So we do that where we take a pledge, and the pledge really states that we will have respect for each other, that we will accept each other, and we'll also have patience with each other because everybody's different. So I think to start off with, showing children through your actions rather than just words, I think is very, very important. And then what we do is we have character traits which run for 2 weeks at a time. And each of these character traits, for example, kindness, friendship, respect, all plays into what bullying is and what bullying shouldn't be. So we're constantly encouraging the children, we're constantly reminding them at school of how they should behave. And by providing the example ourselves as educators, that is really what we need to do.
Lynn, here at News 24 Live, we get many videos of bullying that seems to happen in schools, whether it's between learners themselves or teachers and learners. And many of our concerned readers and viewers have asked, is this something that's on the rise? And in your experience, is this something that perhaps we're experiencing more in schools?
I think bullying has always been very prevalent in schools. I think, as I mentioned earlier, with the advent of technology and children having cell phones and things at school, that we're becoming more aware of it. And as such, we are seeing more of it, and we can acknowledge it and we can deal with it on a more regular basis. Children are also a lot more aware of their rights And parents of children are also a lot more aware of what their children's rights are. So I think that also plays a role.
Absolutely, and like you said, and as many people have pointed out, it's probably not that people are being bullied more, it's just these tools in the classroom allowed to be documented.
Yes, we're now becoming a lot more aware of it.
Now let's go back a little bit to the those attributes that you were speaking about, kindness and respect, and obviously this is also something that can extend further than the classroom and something that can be taught in homes.
Yes, most definitely. We encourage our children, we will introduce a particular aspect in assembly, and we will note it in our newsletter, and we encourage the parents to carry that through at home as well, reminding them constantly about being kind. This is what we do to be kind. When we're out shopping, when we go to the movies, anywhere, this is what we do to make people feel good about themselves. And it's constant reminders and reinforcement, and that's how you teach children. And again, like I said earlier, children do by following your example. You can tell them that this is how we behave, but if they don't see it themselves and they're not in a climate where that behavior is experienced, it's very difficult to expect them to do that.
Now, we've spoken a lot about teachers potentially bullying students, but when you have two learners, especially young learners, in a situation where one is being bullied, we don't often talk about the child who's doing the bullying. What can a parent do if they're in an environment where their child's the bully in a school situation?
Well, the important thing there is what we do. So we call the parents in and we sit down and we have a chat to them and we explain to them that this is the kind of behavior that is ongoing. And we chat to the child as well, and there's often reasons why a child behaves in the way they do. They have their own insecurities and things that they're worried about. And you often find a child who's bullying is the one who's the most insecure, who doesn't feel like they fit in. So it's important to address those concerns with the child. And there I think you have a lot of success.
Lynn, thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you very much.